Part 81. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 804. Of course I know, because I don't exist in this star field, the green-skinned monster explained. Oh, Jia Yan was startled. He didn't care whether the monster was a strong man with the Orion arm. He was just surprised that the other party regarded him as a strong man from the outside world. Of course, Jia Yan didn't say anything, he just wanted to know the purpose of this strong man coming to him. Sir, I want to invite you to take me back to the place where I was born. There is a huge opportunity there. I am willing to share it with you. I wonder if you are willing, the green-skinned monster suddenly said to Jia Yan. Rhetoric that interests him. Sure enough, this strong man came to him for some good things. Jia Yan was overjoyed in his heart. You must know that there are too many opportunities in the universe. As an evolutionary beast, Jia Yan has greater dependence on the outside world than ordinary creatures. If there is any opportunity, if so, it would be extremely attractive to him at least. What opportunity are you talking about? Jia Yan asked with some interest. He didn't pay too much attention now. After all, the green-skinned monster's vision was not as good as his. If what he was talking about were some general supplies from the outside world, he wouldn't be interested. Sir, I know that you are also a strong man from the outside world. Otherwise, it would take too much time for a strong man to appear naturally in the Orion arm. In the past, I didn't believe in any starry sky behemoths, they said. And I didn't believe it. The opportunity I'm talking about is something extremely useful to outsiders. The green-skinned monster said mysteriously. Don't be pretentious, just tell me what it is. Jia Yan was a little impatient. Seeing that this strong man was somewhat unmoved, the green-skinned monster immediately understood that the strong men in the outside world were not like the existence of this Orion arm, and were fully interested in so-called opportunities. Sir, it's like this. The family I escaped from when I was a child seemed to have perished when I escaped. But I know that in a secret stronghold in the family, there are some drugs that are very effective against venerable level monsters. It is said that this medicine is spread from the Hang star territory, and it is very effective for the venerable level. Of course, I don't know if it will have any effect on the strong ones in the Orion arm. The green-skinned monster told what he called an opportunity. Hang star territory? Where is that? Jia Yan no longer cared about the so-called opportunity, but was a little curious about the new terms spoken by the green-skinned monster. Sir, you don't know about the Hang star territory. But it's also possible. I didn't know how far the starry sky had traveled at the time. I guess the Hang star territory isn't very famous here. The Hang star territory is a huge star territory force in my hometown. There is a great galaxy-level being in this force, and the medicines it produces are the best in the entire galaxy. Some powerful medicines are even helpful for promotion to the star level. It helps a lot. The green-skinned monster answered Jia Yan's questions. Jia Yan pondered. He was not dwelling on this so-called opportunity. But at this moment, I have a better understanding of the worldview of the entire galaxy. To him, the Milky Way has always been like a woman hiding under a veil, a bit hazy. But now that he slowly understands it, he realizes that the entire Milky Way seems to be full of forces. Especially some huge forces that he seems to be unable to offend. Sir, seeing that Jia Yan didn't answer, the green-skinned monster suddenly shouted with some hope. Sorry, I'm not interested at the moment. But I will keep your words in reserve. When I am interested, I will come to you, Jia Yan said. Of course he doesn't have much time now. For Jia Yan, both the real body and the clone still have things to do. The so-called opportunity that the green-skinned monster seems to value very much, but for Jia Yan, there is not much he wants to see. After all, there are a lot of things before him, so he should wait until he has time to talk about such things. Oh, okay, but if you are interested, "Sir, I will be waiting for you in Rulan Empire at any time." The green-skinned monster nodded with some disappointment. Jia Yan didn't stay here for too long. For him, the green-skinned monster was still too small, and he was trying to test his true identity both inside and outside his words. This made Jia Yan a little unhappy, so he directly take your leave and settle down. Alas, this earth messenger doesn't want to take me out, and is unmoved by the opportunity. The green-skinned monster looked at Jia Yan's leaving shadow, feeling helpless. Do I want to tell him that there is something more powerful in the secret place of my family? No, I can't say it. I just went towards this thing. I told him that even if I could go back, I wouldn't possible possession. The green-skinned monster lowered his head unwillingly and fell into a deep sleep. This is the real reason why this strong man can maintain his long life. Of course Jia Yan knew that this being had his own little thoughts. And he didn't believe what the other party said, which was why he couldn't easily agree to the other party. Jia Yan knew that he was not invincible in the outside world. If he took him to the outside world, it would be too dangerous for his real body to show up in person. It's not good if no one cares about the side. It seems that I will ask the people in Taia next time if there will be any trouble if they want to activate the second clone, Jia Yan thought to himself. Because of the relationship between the Earth Messenger and the Rulan Empire, the entire empire was shaken up and down, and even affected the lives of the people at the bottom. In order to comply with the request of the Earth Messenger, and at the same time to treat the people on Earth who were unintentionally harmed by the Rulan Empire's army outside, the Rulan Empire began to select the best workers and teachers in the entire empire. They were transported to the vast starry sky one by one. It is said that 3 days after the Earth Messenger appeared, a ship of people was sent into space. These technical creatures and teachers will be wandering in the starry sky in the next few years, and their arrival on Earth will also be very late. Of course, for the time a civilization has existed, this amount of time is nothing. As long as the Earth waits a few more years, with these teachers and technical types of work, the overall civilization strength will become an explosive growth in a geometric form. Jia Yan also understands that the level of strength of a civilization is not so easy to develop. Just like the era of the Earth a few decades ago, countries on the entire Earth were also divided into 3, 6, and 9 levels. Some African countries could not learn from the Western world no matter how hard they studied. Civilization, this is the bottleneck problem of improvement. However, the current overall civilization strength of the Earth is too poor. In the early stage, these teachers are of course still very effective. When the bottleneck is reached in the future, Jia Yan will probably not need to have a headache. At midnight. Master, the drinks here are pretty good. They taste good. A delicate and beautiful woman was lying lazily on the soft sofa, looking at the man standing proudly on her side, and letting out a charming smile. As long as it tastes good, you can live the life you've always liked here for a while. The man smiled, and then looked at the several stars in the sky that were dim because they were too far away. But I suddenly don't like the Rulan Empire. Haha, for 300 years, I have always liked this country. I dreamed of coming here every day. But now that I have really come, I find that it is not what I imagined. It looks completely different, it's a joke. The woman shook her head, her smile a little bitter. Okay, now I don't care whether you like it or not. In this Rulan Empire, you have great power. Whatever you need, the creatures here will give it to you. I will leave soon. I hope you will do well. Jia Yan shook his head. He was naturally a proud man, and in front of him was De Funi. The red-haired woman seemed to have drunk too much, and her eyes were a little blurry at this moment. Master, are you leaving? Haha, let's go. I always feel that you are getting farther and farther away from me, but I am satisfied that even the Emperor of the Rulan Empire is afraid of my status. I hope you will return in the future. Can you take care of me? Haha, if you want any special services, I don't mind helping you, you know. Daifune looked at the human-looking Jia Yan with flirtatious eyes. You drank too much. Jia Yan shook his head speechlessly. Well, you have great power in this Rulan Empire matter, but you must remember to maintain a certain degree of friendship with the Rulan Empire. Otherwise, in my absence, I won't be able to get back to anyone who wants to kill you. For other things, they won't resist if you make some requests that are not too intrusive. You can decide the details yourself. Jia Yan looked at the drunken Daifune, then shook his head. Take care of yourself, I'm going to the Asta Empire. After saying that, he actually stepped on the ground. Then Jia Yan's whole body turned into a blue light and went directly towards the sky. Daifune behind him saw the leader leaving, and got up from the sofa with a depressed expression. She looked at the light spot flying away quickly over the mansion, her nose wrinkled into a nice fine line, and then she drank the wine in her mouth. I don't care if a beautiful woman comes to my door. Sure enough, she is still a big mosquito. Daphne breathed out a breath of alcohol. Jia Yan, who was flying in space, could naturally feel Daifune speaking below, and he also gave a wry smile. That's right, I'm just a big mosquito. Even if I have a human clone, I'm still just a big mosquito. Jia Yan shook his head and told himself not to think so much. For Jia Yan, he had long since given up on the relationship between men and women. He now only wants to pursue a more powerful peak. Moreover, although this girl, Daifune, was the creature he came into contact with very early after his rebirth, her personality was not compatible with this woman at all, so to put it in perspective, Jia Yan would never have anything to do with her no matter what he did. Brother is not a casual person. Jia Yan grinned jokingly. The next moment, his body got into the space capsule. The next target is the Asta Empire. With a sparkle in his compound eyes, he pressed the start button of the space capsule. In order to thank the miserable Aquarius brother, I once again rewarded 11,100 starting coins, ranking first in the fan list of this book. Today I have updated 3 chapters with 9,000 plus words. Thank you brother. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 805. There are only a few powerful empires in the Orion Arm star field. Some of them don't even know about each other's existence due to the distance between them. As for the powerful empires around this solar system, in addition to the Rulan Empire, there is also the Asta Empire, which is almost the same in strength. There is another powerful empire, an empire with extremely terrifying combat power that rivals all surrounding empires, the Biochemical Empire. On the border of the Asta Empire, exactly 15 light-years away from the capital star of the Asta Empire, a rapidly flying aircraft appeared in the universe like a stream of light, quickly appearing and then disappearing into space. This is Jia Yan's space capsule. It was now more than half a month after he took the space capsule out of the capital of the Rulan Empire. If the creatures in the Orion Arm knew about Jia Yan's flying ability, they might be extremely shocked. You must know that the envoys of the two empires used the fastest aircraft of the two empires, but each exchange took decades. But it took Jia Yan more than half a month to reach the junction between the two empires, which was extremely fast. The Asta Empire is an empire composed of creatures that look similar to humans. In this country, the technology is slightly more advanced than that of the Lan Empire, and everything focuses on practicality. Jia Yan is reading relevant information about the Asta Empire. But after watching it for a while, his expression became a little strange. It turned out that the Asta Empire was not the empire he imagined, but something like the Northern Star Territory, where the entire empire was fighting. It is true that this empire is an empire, and all the powerful forces within the empire are obeying the orders of the central government. However, in fact, there are 7 or 8 large and small forces in the entire empire. They are constantly fighting among themselves, and civil wars often break out with the support of big forces behind them. And even under such internal strife, This empire was still able to balance the power of the Rulan Empire, which can be said to be a powerful battle force. Just after Jia Yan stepped into the theoretical territory of the Asta Empire, he saw a scene in the Dayton not long after. It is a space-living substance made by artificial technology. The entire living material space is 5 to 6 kilometers long. Although in Jia Yan's opinion, the technology is not very strong, but considering the technological strength in this star field, maybe this living material space is also a good place. Within 5 or 6 kilometers, a bandit-like force was raging. The people of the Asta Empire who lived in that interstellar living space looked no different from humans. They were being chased by groups of bandits, howling like ghosts and wolves as they ran for their lives in all directions. Huh? Is this a living space without defense? It was attacked by a group of bandits, not to mention strong ones, but they didn't even have many technological weapons for defense. Jia Yan was somewhat curious to see that in this living area, only a few ordinary Asta people were resisting. The most powerful ones are undoubtedly the two mechas. One of them is an adult man, and the other is an Asta man who is like a little boy of 13 or 14 years old. Run away, ah dang, we can't stop it, the adult man kept urging the other mecha to escape. No, I won't let them hurt my parents, kill them. The young kid on the other mecha was obviously scared. His mecha had already suffered extensive damage, and one of its arms was missing, but he still refused to escape. A large wave of people is behind him. If he escapes, the interstellar bandits will rush out and kill this group of people. You take your family and leave, I will help you block it, hurry up. The adult man yelled for the boy to leave. Then he operated the mecha in front of a group of bandits and continuously fired the mecha's hot wire weapon. Interesting. Jia Yan was more than 100 kilometers away and saw the scenery early. At this moment, he was a little interested and wanted to see the result. The adult man's mecha driving skills were naturally extremely powerful, but in front of a group of bandits with advanced weapons and 7 or 8 mechas, he only managed to hold off for a while, and then he was directly devoured by gunfire. Teacher. The boy just held up a middle-aged man and woman in one hand, and a little girl who seemed to be only 5 or 6 years old. Ah dang, let us go and escape by yourself, the man and woman on the mecha's arms shouted to the boy operating the mecha. The little girl didn't understand what happened and just cried loudly. No. I want to protect you. Ah, the boy's eyes were red, and he struggled to operate the mecha and rush into a group of bandits. The mecha on one side fired at the mecha he was operating, piercing the entire chest of the mecha with one blow. The huge mecha fell to the ground, and the boy roared loudly in the mecha's operating cabin. Mom and Dad. Sister. A family of 3 on one side had lost consciousness due to the impact of the mecha falling down. The boy seemed to have seen the 3 corpses, and he suddenly roared to save his relatives. But he couldn't do it. So this mecha operator is actually such a young child? Haha, these are your parents, right? Since you have caused us such great harm, we will not let your family go. That's fair, isn't it? On the other side, a middle-aged man jumped out of the bandit mecha. Seeing the boy yelling in the broken mecha cabin that could not move, he suddenly showed a cruel smile. Then the man took out the pistol on his back, walked to the boy's father, raised the gun, pointed it at the middle-aged man's head, and was about to pull the trigger. Dad. Ah! Let go of my dad, the boy yelled inside the mecha, tears streaming from his eyes. Well. Just when the middle-aged robber was about to pull the trigger, a slight sigh reached his ears. Although this man's strength is estimated to be at the earth level, he is still very vigilant. Hearing this voice, he immediately looked around with some vigilance. At the same time, he did not pull the trigger that he was about to pull. The bandit mechas and ground soldiers on one side were originally gathered together to watch the show, but now they suddenly heard the sound and were a little shocked and wanted to look around. But no matter how they looked, they couldn't see the being making the sound. Just when those strong men were alert, they didn't know that on the side of the boy's mecha, a man who looked no different from the Asta man slowly walked up to the boy's mecha. "Young man, do you want to save your parents and sister?" the man asked softly. The young man in the cockpit raised his head, but the light in the space was a little dim at the moment, and the young man could not see the other person's face clearly. I just felt that the other person's eyes were sparkling, as bright as the stars in the night sky. "I want to save them." The young man didn't know why, but when he saw this man, he felt calm. It seemed that those eyes had the power to reassure people. "Okay." The man turned his head. The boy was surprised to find that although the man turned his head, the tattered mecha around him automatically disintegrated piece by piece, leaving a passage for him to escape. And the movement here finally made the suspicious bandits pay their attention to this place. Their expressions changed drastically. There was a black-haired man standing in front of the young man's mecha. Although they said they were observing, they would never believe that someone walked into the middle of the battlefield right under their noses, but they had not noticed it before. It was as if there was a power that prevented them from discovering this existence. Of course, they will not understand that this is the power of the strong. A strong man who is much stronger than them can easily control the five senses of the weak. "Who are you?" The middle-aged robber at the head had a bad feeling in his heart when he saw this man. As an Earth-level powerhouse, he has long known that there are some powerhouses among the stars that cannot be provoked, especially the starry sky level, who are extremely respected in the entire star field, and he is the leader of these powerhouses. If he met any starry sky class at random, his team of bandits would be easily wiped out, leaving no one behind. And now, when this middle-aged man saw the black-haired man opposite, he had the feeling that this person's existence seemed to be that of a starry sky-level person. The black-haired man did not pay attention to the middle-aged robber's words, but walked step by step in front of the unconscious middle-aged man and woman. In their arms, there was a little girl. "Okay, you sensible people can go on your own. I'm not willing to waste time adjusting the natural laws of your Asta Empire." The black-haired man looked at the unconscious family on the ground and said to the middle-aged robber without even raising his eyes, "Asshole! Why did you tell our second master?" An infantry bandit on the side just spoke in anger. Puff! His head exploded open. Red, white, and colorful internal organs and the like were flowing on the ground. Let's go, let's go." When the middle-aged robber saw this scene, he had no intention of resisting and yelled out quickly. As a bandit group begging for food at the tip of a knife, after seeing the appearance of the black-haired man, everyone understood that this was an existence they could not provoke. Of course, the robbers knew how to save their lives, and they quickly ran away one by one. The battles in other places seemed to be slowly getting quieter. It only took less than 5 minutes for Nyoda's living room to become silent. The boy discovered that in the starry sky outside the living area, shabby warships were running away as fast as they could. This man is so powerful. Just by killing one person, he can scare so many robbers. The little boy looked at the black-haired man with some submissiveness. But at this moment, the black-haired man shook his head mockingly. "I couldn't help but take action. If I'm to blame, this child's family composition is somewhat similar to mine." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 806. Moiwan Literature Network. For more information, please log in to the unique address of Moiwan Literature Network, mobile reading login. Welcome your visit /U003E/U003E/U003E. Jia Yan secretly lamented that he was still not meditative enough. As a person, this was very bad. However, he did not have any regrets about saving this Asta family. Even though he came here this time to deal with Emperor Asta, he never thought about bringing down the entire civilian population of Emperor Asta. Especially the feeling of this family is very similar to his family, and the way the little boy works hard is vaguely similar to him. That's why I took action. Sir, thank you for taking action. The little boy knew that Jia Yan's strength must be earth-shattering, otherwise it would be impossible to scare away a group of thieves, so he quickly ran forward and thanked Jia Yan. It's okay, how is your family? Have you seen it? Jia Yan waved his hands indifferently. To him, this kind of thing is just a small song, and it doesn't even cost a bit of effort. My family is all fine, but my sister is frightened. The boy turned around and saw 3 of his family members slowly waking up. His sister was crying very loudly. Okay, you go take care of your family. Jia Yan motioned to the boy to leave. After receiving Jia Yan's instructions, the boy quickly went to take care of his family. It was obvious that he was a child who valued kissing. Jia Yan started walking around in the living area. His behavior was seen only by the boy, so the surrounding Asta people thought he was an ordinary citizen. The young man over there, I mean you. Seeing that everyone is suffering, why don't you come over and help? An old man stopped Jia Yan. Jia Yan was startled, then smiled, and walked to the man. It turned out that a group of people here were rescuing a man who was buried by a collapsed building. I don't know if the large machinery can be used now, and I don't know how badly the man was injured by the thief's attack. If he doesn't hurry up now, he might die. Jia Yan stepped forward and saw that everyone around him sincerely wanted to save, and no one had any energy left. However, the largest group of people is only close to the edge of the ground level. At this moment, everyone can only lift the heavy object a little bit. Jia Yan stepped forward and put his arm on the collapsed object. Get up. Try harder, everyone, a man shouted in surprise. After that, the entire huge building ruins were directly lifted up by everyone. Of course, Jia Yan is the most powerful among them, but he does it so unconsciously that no one knows about it. Thank you. Unexpectedly, the rescued man was not seriously injured, and it could be seen that he was a prefecture-level existence, so he threw himself into the next rescue as soon as he appeared. Jia Yan looked at the group of people around him in surprise. He could see that these people really wanted to give to others. Okay, here is the list of personnel. Although the enemy retreated very quickly this time, the casualties caused are still very serious. After a tense rescue, a group of Asta people gathered together. There are several prefecture-level peaks meeting as a class. Jia Yan was also in the crowd. He secretly counted the number of people around him and found that there were about 10,000 Asta people here, not counting the number of people. Okay, although we have killed many people, we still have to act according to the best ideas. Now we need to send people to the steward planet to report that this kind of living space is possible. There are 15,000 of us here. I have lived in the space for 10 years and nothing has happened. This project must be supported by the central government. When Jia Yan heard these people's discussions, he understood the whole story. It turns out that this so-called living area is an idea hatched by a group of scientists. They built this huge living space. Although it has been forgotten, they have lived here for 10 years, which proves that this kind of living is feasible. But when they wanted to apply for a larger population immigration plan and support larger projects, an attack by interstellar thieves suddenly occurred. We must apply for a large-scale pilot of this project in the past. We must know that if this project is successful, the entire Asta civilization will be able to enter the interstellar space in the future and spread like seeds in all directions. What a good idea, so no matter what, we must let this project pass. The projects we applied for last time were all rejected. Even if we go there this time, we will definitely not be approved. What's more, we have no candidates to manage the planet. To get there, we need to pass through an asteroid field, which is not only dangerous, and there are also some large foreign races, even our own star wanderers and star thieves hiding there. The largest heaven-level existence in our living area, Lord Rukong, has died just now, so how can we still pass there? The residents of the famous living area are all a little distressed. In fact, they are not citizens, but scientists in this entire living area. Only they can live in this small space for so many years without any serious problems. Everyone, I know that there is an adult who is very powerful. Just when all the people were at a loss what to do, a childish voice sounded. Everyone looked around and saw the young boy who had fought so bravely stood up. Xiao Hung, who are you talking about? We all know everyone in our living area. Where did such a person come from? All the people were kind to this child and they all talked about him. This Lord's strength will definitely pass. Let's hire him. That boy turned out to be the boy who was rescued by Jia Yan just now. At this time, he pointed his finger at Jia Yan. It turned out that this child had been secretly observing Jia Yan. Although he knew that Jia Yan would definitely know this, he also thought that this person would not do anything to him. Otherwise, what would the other party do to save these more than 10,000 people? Of course he didn't know that Jia Yan's rescue of them was just a temporary move. If there was something that really didn't suit his wishes and he was asked to kill these 10,000 people, Jia Yan wouldn't bear any psychological burden. After all, even though he believed it, these things people are just Asta people. Jia Yan was indeed among the crowd, and he did not expect that the boy would directly confess himself. At this time, he couldn't help but frown a little. Hey, how come I haven't seen this person before? Although I can't say that I remember all of the more than 10,000 people, I have no impression of him at all. Could he be the remnant of that gang of thieves? A group of people were frightened by thieves at this time. When they heard that Jia Yan was told by a senior official that he might be a thief, they all immediately stepped back with big faces. Some even took out weapons. But he still remained unchanged. Of course, at his level, if he could still be hurt by ordinary thermal weapons, it would be in vain. Don't worry, everyone, this person is not a bad person. The interstellar thieves left just now. Maybe this person helped us. The boy jumped out quickly. This child seemed to have a fairly high status in the eyes of the residents of the living area. Hearing his words, they immediately calmed down and stopped attacking Jia Yan. The boy showed no signs of anger when he saw Jia Yan, and quickly explained to the people on the side. It turns out you are such a great person. Thank you for saving the people in our living area. Although the people in the living area are not old enough, they are all scientists after all, and they have seen a lot of things in the world. After listening to the boy's description, they all immediately understood that it was really possible that Jia Yan helped them. It's nothing, I just wanted to do it, so I gave it up. Jia Yan looked at the Asta people around him. The reason why he still stayed here was just to see if the interpersonal relationships here were fake. But now, seeing that the people living here love each other, it makes Jia Yan feel a little better. People always yearn for beautiful things, and when they see a place with good interpersonal relationships, they are always willing to see more. But he didn't expect that after some discussion with the elders in the living area, they came to Jia Yan and made a direct request. Sir, we request to hire you as a guard. Take a team of us to the management star. As long as we get there, we will give you half of next year's budget. Management star, Jia Yan didn't refuse directly, nor was he surprised, because they were hiding to discuss something, and no words could escape Jia Yan's ears. Find bookstore. That's right, the management star. In our Asta Empire, there is a management star in every star field. All administrative affairs in that star field require the management and approval of the management star. Our living area, the technological construction of this project requires a larger budget from the management star, so that it can quickly become a project that benefits Asta Emperor. I hope you can help me, sir. The people around him probably thought that Jia Yan was from Osto, and they all kept asking Jia Yan at this time. By the way, I heard that something happened on the management planet recently, that is, they asked us to be careful about the existence of a person from Rulan Emperor who may claim to be the Earth's messenger, and he is still on the management planet in our star field. We have arranged a weapon, which is said to be extremely terrifying, just to deal with that person. If you don't help us, maybe that person will appear and kill us all. Please help save people until the end. A person who seemed to be the highest ranking person in the entire living area kept making requests to Jia Yan. Although he couldn't tell Jia Yan's strength, he could see the magnanimity of a warrior. He hadn't paid attention to Jia Yan's magnanimity at first. After the little boy told Jia Yan's strength, I noticed it, and the more I looked at it, the more I felt that Jia Yan was extremely powerful. Now he is pressing forward with the big goal of protecting Emperor Asta's future, and wants Jia Yan to agree to protect him. Of course, the senior executive made a mistake. Jia Yan was not from Asto at all. But Jia Yan was stunned by the words of the senior executive. A special weapon to deal with the Earth messenger? Intentional SI. His eyes flashed. Okay, I accept your request. Okay, the third update of 9,000 words is over, thank you all for your support. Please also ask for the genuine version, thank you. For more information, please log in to the unique address of Moiwan Literature Network, mobile phone reading login. Welcome your visit. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 807. The Asta people's performance and work efficiency are better than those of Rulan Empire creatures. After Jia Yan met this group of scientists, the Asta people, he was a little surprised that the Rulan Empire could actually fight the Asta Empire for so many years. After all, the Asta people were more efficient than the hedonistic Rulan. Imperials should be pretty simple. But after seeing the current situation of the entire Asta Empire, he also understood why this great empire was like this. The reason is also very simple, that is, this empire is too chaotic. There is a management star just across the star field. This management star has great autonomy, but most of the top management stars are extremely corrupt. In this way, the entire empire will be in chaos. After Jia Yan saw some of the inside story of the Asta Empire, he understood why he was so confused. The chaotic situation cancelled out the diligence and efficiency of the entire Asta race, and brought the entire empire to the same level as the Rulan Empire. Sir, we are leaving soon. While Jia Yan was staying in the Starry Sky living area, a few days later, a voice came to the room where he was. The boy who came to knock on the door was the boy Jia Yan saved. As someone who had seen Jia Yan's strength, this boy admired Jia Yan very much. Especially when others had doubts about Jia Yan, he was always the first to jump out. Rebuttal. Okay, I'll be there right away. Jia Yan said lightly. Then he got up. No one in the living area knew how Jia Yan got to their living area. Before the robbers appeared, Jia Yan had never shown his face in the living area. All this shows that Jia Yan they appeared together when the robbers appeared. The Asta people who questioned Jia Yan clung to this point, because they didn't even see Jia Yan's aircraft, which meant that this strong man might have come on a bandit's warship. Sir, this is your reward. Although it is not much, we will make up the rest after we get the funds. A senior executive in the living area handed over a card, which was similar to Asta's universal deposit bearer card. Of course Jia Yan didn't care, but it would seem wrong if he didn't take it, so he took it directly. His purpose was actually very simple. He just heard that the management star of the star field seemed to have thought of some way to deal with him, so he set off to take a look. Although he didn't believe that with his own strength, he would be afraid of a management star under the Asta Empire, but he was afraid of 10,000 things. He understood that although his strength was strong, he could not be afraid of certain things, and even under weapons, he is still fragile. At least go and take a look, there's nothing to lose. Not long after, a fleet of ships left from the port of the living area. Sir, did you really come without an aircraft? The boy who was rescued by Jia Yan was in the same spaceship as Jia Yan. This spaceship is only about 70 meters in size, and even its supplies require the help of a supply ship on one side to be able to move over a long period of time. Haha, you can guess whether I brought an aircraft here, and some of the strong ones can fly in the universe without the help of technology. Jia Yan's senses are quite good for this boy who loves his family. At this time, he has some said the enlightened one. How is it possible? No matter how powerful a strong person is, he can fly in the universe? I don't believe it. Although the boy admired Jia Yan, it didn't mean that he believed what Jia Yan said. Haha, believe it or not, it's all up to you. Jia Yan just smiled and then went to his room to rest. This battleship is not as big as his real body, but after using the clone, he can actually rest and live in it. Jia Yan is also a little emotional as he switches between the two bodies. The route that this fleet will take is indeed an area with a lot of interstellar matter. And in this star field, there are many wandering creatures, and some are strong. Seeing this fleet coming to this star field, it is like a sheep coming to a pack of wolves. Hidden bandit forces, as well as single strong men, are all targeting them at this time. Huh? A strong man is coming. One day, Jia Yan sat cross-legged on the bed and opened his eyes. For him, this fleet was just a temporary place to join, but since he said he wanted to protect others, Jia Yan didn't mind doing some casual things with a little effort. A powerful battleship quickly arrived in front of this fleet of more than a dozen small spaceships. There is not even a single warship. How dare such a fleet pass through this area of interstellar matter? On the battleship, a strong man from the early stage of starry sky looked at the fleet in front of him strangely. But he didn't feel anything strange, and he couldn't detect any strong person in the fleet. Forget it, although I don't like this small fleet, but it is here, let's grab it, hoping to save capital. The strong man shook his head helplessly. As a starry sky class, even in this chaotic interstellar material belt, of course he can live a very comfortable life. He just passed through this area and saw the fleet from the outside world, and came over to rob it. Of course, this casual robbery will not be spared. Generally, he would directly wipe out similar fleets. Stop all the boats for me, or I can take action. The single-man battleship arrived in front of this group of spaceships. At this moment, it seemed that the fleet's detection instruments had discovered each other, and the formation seemed to be in a panic. Sir, the little boy got the news that the strong warship was coming, and nervously ran to the door of the room where Jia Yan was. Okay, I understand. Jia Yan's calm voice came from inside. For a long time, the boy didn't hear any noise inside. He opened the door anxiously, but saw that there was no one inside. What happened? Where did he go? The boy wiped his eyes in shock. You must know that he was always at the door. No matter how powerful the other party was, he couldn't disappear from his eyes, right? Besides, it's not necessary. Maybe your excellency has gone to stop this strong enemy. What should I do? The report just now said that the invading strong man might be a starry sky class, and he also has a battleship. Such a powerful strong man. With the addition of a single-man battleship, the strength is absolutely powerful. This gentleman doesn't even have a battleship, how can he fight with the opponent? The boy returned to the spacecraft command module with some worry. Have you notified your excellency? The commander in the command cabin asked him. I've been informed, but I don't know if I'm here, the boy replied hesitantly. Maybe he ran away. How can he, a strong man without a battleship, fight against a strong man with a battleship? Besides, he has no need to help us. The adjutant on the other side has never had a good sense of Jia Yan. Although some people say that Jia Yan probably saved the existence of their living area, he just doesn't believe it. There were speculations among the spaceships on this side, and several spaceships on the other side wanted to communicate with the strong man to see if they could get the other party to spare their lives. Inside the strong man's battleship, a figure walking slowly like a stroll among the strong man's battleship shook his head in the middle of the strong man's battleship. Haha, is this a powerful battleship? Compared with the single-person battleships in the Northern Star region, it is like a toy. Jia Yan smiled silently. To put it bluntly, such a warship is just a warship that has been modified and can be operated by a single person. It cannot increase the combat power of a strong person at all. Of course, if it is operated by one person, the strong person will react. Being faster than ordinary people, battleships naturally have great advantages. But this is completely different from the powerful battleships in the Northern Star region. Stop the spaceship quickly, I'll give you 3 seconds. Jia Yan slowly walked to the control cabin of the battleship. A monster of more than 40 meters was facing away from him, cursing at the communicator. He was not aware of Jia Yan's arrival at all. Although he was also a starry sky level, he was only the lowest level existence in the Orion Arm starry sky level. Jia Yan came to his side and stood there like a little man in front of a huge monster. 3. The monster roared viciously. 2, he continued. Find bookstore. Just when the monster wanted to shout out the last number and press the launch button of the battleship's weapon, a voice sounded softly at his feet. I've been here for so long and you haven't discovered it yet. I'm so disappointed. This strong monster jumped up like a frightened cat. If you look at it this way, he does look like a cat, but a big cat. You, who are you? After the strong man felt the voice next to him, he found that he had not heard the other party's voice at all, and suddenly looked at Jia Yan in shock. Even now, he still couldn't feel the aura of that insignificant existence. Because the opponent's strength seemed to be superior to his. I am the target of your robbery. I heard that you were going to rob me, so I came over to see for myself. What do you think, do you still want to rob me now? Jia Yan said calmly, and then walked towards the operation console of the battleship. It was just too big for him to operate. Forget it, I don't need this kind of stuff. Jia Yan shook his head regretfully. He originally wanted to grab this battleship as his temporary ride, but after looking at the reality, he felt that he really didn't like it. You, get out of here. When the strong man saw that Jia Yan was actually facing him, he was distracted to look at his beloved ship. He immediately thought he had a chance and struck directly at it. Alas! Since you are seeking death yourself, then I will help you. Jia Yan shook his head lightly, and then his brainwave power started gently. As an existence that can even compete with the semi-star level in the outside world, although this is just a clone, but the strength is completely different from that of this starry sky in the early stage. Puff! Red and white flying around. This strong man was directly hit in the head by Jia Yan's brainwave power. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 808. 57 Novel Network allows you to read all novels online without pop-up ads. The website address is, register to get a free bookshelf. Where did that gentleman go? The Asta boy shook his head helplessly in the command cabin. He had indeed been defending the adult who suddenly appeared, but in this case, he couldn't say anything. This strong man suddenly disappeared when their fleet was in danger. Even he himself had some doubts as to whether this powerful man had run away. Then the one-man battleship is about to call out the last number. What should we do? I think we should surrender. A command member in the command cabin said with some horror. All the senior commanders were afraid to answer, but the fluctuations in their hearts had long betrayed them. But after more than 10 seconds, the voice of the powerful one-man battleship was still not heard from the communicator. What? He has no voice, a commander said strangely. You don't have to worry, he's dead. Just when the spaceship operators were a little confused, a voice came from behind them. Well. They turned around, only to see a man standing at the very end of the command cabin. He seemed to have been there from the beginning, speaking to them calmly. The operators were extremely surprised. Isn't this the strong man who they thought had escaped and invited them to protect them? Sir, you said that the strong man in the one-man battleship is dead. Could it be, did you kill him? A senior commander looked at Jia Yan with some stuttering, and then asked with difficulty. He couldn't believe it. Could it be that Jia Yan's strength had reached this level? The other party was obviously a starry sky level, and they could feel the faint strength of the strong man, but the strong man on their side could not even be detected by them, and they killed this strong man directly? Yes, he is dead. Let's continue on the road, Jia Yan said lightly. He went back and forth between the battleships, using his own shuttle ability. In this star field, because space warfare and technology are underdeveloped, there is no blockade of space, so he can make such movements. If in other star fields, Jia Yan might not be so relaxed, because everyone knows the impact space. Well. The high-level commanders and spaceship operators all looked at each other blankly. They didn't want to believe it, but the one-man battleship hovering in the vacuum reminded them that something really happened to the strong man in the battleship. Then, sir, what should I do with this one-man battleship? It is very valuable, a commander asked. Is it worth it? No need. Jia Yan shook his head, then opened the door of the command module and returned to his room. No need. You must know that this battleship is worth 10 times the value of our group's spaceship. The commander's eyes widened in shock. But Jia Yantu didn't even reply. He understands that although he doesn't like this one-man battleship, its value may be very high. Just like before there was no metal disaster on the Earth, the principles of cars were similar, but some luxury cars may be worth hundreds of times more than ordinary vehicles. But if you don't like it, you just don't like it? This kind of battleship is dozens of times better than the battleship of any strong man in the northern star field that Jia Yan really can pull. Jia Yan doesn't care about money. He came to destroy the Asta Empire. He will be like the Rulan Empire. He will have everything he wants. Why does he still care about money? Jia Yan didn't want it anymore. Those high-level commanders were dumbfounded. They intended to tow the battleship, but the opponent was so big that it would be difficult to tow it. And if it were to be driven, it would be impossible for such a battleship to be driven unless it was a strong person, let alone even if it was driven. Yes, it's too eye-catching. So with their size, they let the one-man battleship go. When the fleet passed by the battleship, a group of high-ranking commanders had their eyes red. Of course, Jia Yan didn't feel anything. During the driving miles, similar things kept happening, but no such powerful person appeared again. After all, the Starry Sky class is not a cabbage on the roadside. If you can meet it casually, Jia Yan will suspect it. It's not in the Northern Star territory anymore. Fortunately, no starry-level powerhouses appeared next, but small wandering forces or Starry Sky pirates. Under Jia Yan's methods, each of these emerging forces perished directly, even inexplicably every time. That strong man is too powerful. What kind of strength do you think he is? I think he can kill even the early-stage strong men in the Starry Sky. Maybe he is a high-level strong man in the Starry Sky, but the high-level strong man in the Starry Sky in our Asta Empire is just there are so many. Which one is he? I don't seem to have any impression at all. Jia Yan's performance has long conquered a group of fleet members, and they all speculated on Jia Yan's strength. But no matter how they think about it, it is impossible for them to know that Jia Yan's strength is beyond the Starry Sky Lord level of all the strong men in this Orion arm, right? Even his combat power can rival the half-star level from the outside world, which can be said to be earth-shatteringly powerful. Of course, this group of Asta people could not guess Jia Yan's strength, and the journey was passed quickly in this seemingly thrilling but harmless journey. Out of the interstellar material zone. On one day, cheers came from the entire fleet. After marching in the interstellar material zone for more than 10 days, these Asta people were a little tired. You must know that even if they understand Jia Yan's strength, they also don't trust this mysterious strong man. Fortunately, it's all over. Sir, in front of you is the management star of our star field. Don't you want to go to this management star to do business? Come with us now. The little boy came to Jia Yan and said happily to Jia Yan with some excitement. Good. Jia Yan nodded. At this time, the spacecraft they were in was already flying quickly towards a star that was about the same size as the moon. The people of Osto are very capable of doing things. Jia Yan came to the bridge of the spaceship and saw the so-called management star. He sighed and praised it from the bottom of his heart. It turns out that the so-called management star, even though its technological strength is lower than that of the Northern Star Territory, has built a technologically advanced planet with strong work efficiency. There are buildings all over the planet, and they look like they can accommodate most of the humans on the planet. Some buildings also reach a height of 8 or 9,000 meters. Although they are still a little behind compared to the giant buildings in the Northern Star region that are often tens of thousands of meters high, they are still very good. Developed, this is Jia Yan's first impression of this planet. Are there many such planets within the territory of the Asta Empire? It seems that the Asta Empire's war potential is stronger than the Rulan Empire. Jia Yan nodded with some appreciation for the Asta Empire. The fleet quickly approached the huge management star. But just as they approached the management star, Jia Yan's eyes suddenly trembled. There was a hint of a drastic change in his expression in his eyes. Jia Yan is very powerful. Before the fleet approaches this so-called management star, he can feel the aura of a strong man on the management star from more than 1,000 kilometers away. But just when he sensed the breath below, he suddenly discovered an extremely powerful breath power. Although this power is not as good as him, it far exceeds the strength of the strong men in this star field. This is the strength of a high-level expert in the peak starry sky, and it is not the so-called high-level starry sky in Orion Arm, but the high-level starry sky from the outside world. Jia Yan felt the opponent's strength for the first time, and then quickly restrained his brainwave power. His expression was a bit strange to you, and at the same time, there was a strange light in his strange eyes. Weird, shouldn't there be such a strong man in this Orion Arm? How could we see one in the Asta Empire? Even the green-skinned old monster from the Rulan Empire seems to be a step behind him. Looks like. He looked a little curious, then tried hard to restrain his brainwave power, and probed again. The opponent's strength seemed to be inferior to Jia Yan's. He didn't feel Jia Yan's probing just now, but this time he hid his probing, so it was even less likely that he would feel Jia Yan's probing. As the spacecraft slowly approached, Jia Yan was able to use more and more brainwave power, and it stabilized. Then through the exploration of brainwave power, Jia Yan's eyes became more and more frightened. He felt the face of the powerful man at the top of the starry sky. He is actually a strong man from the biochemical empire. Can a strong man from the biochemical empire reach such a powerful level? Jia Yan thought in shock. Then he felt a sudden chill in his heart. Because at this time, he picked up his terrifying memory again. That was when Grey Star was escaping from the battle, he saw the powerful commander of the biochemical empire. The opponent looked like he was only in the early stage of the starry sky, but when he appeared in the starry sky, he showed an extremely terrifying aura, even there. At that time, Jia Yan was noticed by the so-called Great Powerhouse. Jia Yan has always kept this memory in his heart. Because of this, he tried not to have anything to do with the creatures of the biochemical empire after his return. But he didn't expect that in the Asta Empire, he would actually see such a powerful person from the biochemical empire. The strong man in the biochemical empire is too mysterious. Since this strong man is here, I'd better not show his face, especially since I don't know if he also has the ability to attract a great level being to possess him. If I could, then with my current strength, it would be like hitting an egg against a stone. Jia Yan frowned in fear. Sir, we are almost there, sir. The boy standing next to Jia Yan was still pointing excitedly beside him, but when he turned around, he found that Jia Yan beside him had disappeared. Sir? Where are you? What's wrong? Are you leaving? We didn't even give you any money. Immediately after this, a group of fleet members began to urgently look for Jia Yan. But Jia Yan has really left quietly, and they can't find him. Thanks to the book friend Yisu Xian for the reward. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 809. Click here to read on mobile phone. Of course Jia Yan has to leave. Jia Yan has already learned about the mystery and terror of the biochemical empire. At this time, he does not want to provoke the great powerhouse who may be behind the biochemical empire. While Jia Yan quietly stepped into the distortion, the biochemical empire monster in charge of the star seemed to be aware of it, and suddenly opened his eyes. Tasting books. Strange, I seem to feel a space force just now. The monster realized the fluctuation of power, but smiled faintly. Impossible, how can there be a powerful existence like me in this star field? It's just my illusion. The monster regarded Jia Yan's disappearance as an illusion, and then muttered in a depressed tone, how could the Emperor think of arranging me to a place like this? Sigh, I'd better not worry about a strong man of this level. I hope I will be 5 years old after the 10-year mission is over. You can leave this place where birds don't lay eggs. Jia Yan stepped out of the space. He was 1,000 kilometers away from the management star, and then looked back at the management star. There is a powerful being from the biochemical empire in front of me. Although I am certainly weaker in strength, I cannot underestimate him. Jia Yan looked at the planet over there with a slightly wary expression. You must know that the existence of the biochemical empire seems to be related to the Zerg, and the person behind the Zerg is most likely the great being who once possessed him, and is also a galaxy-level powerhouse. For the time being, Jia Yan has not thought of any way to resist such existence, and now the only way is to avoid it and avoid it. But this management star is discussing how to deal with me. Originally, I didn't need to pay too much attention to it, but with the presence of a biochemical empire here, I have to be on guard. Jia Yan felt a little tangled in his heart. That's all, this starry sky peak powerhouse can't detect the power of my brain waves at all. This shows that my strength is much stronger than him. Then I will go down and secretly find out how they want to deal with me. Jia Yan made up his mind and flew down to land on the management star. However, this time he did not use the power beyond the high level of the starry sky. At the same time, he observed whether the strong man from the biochemical empire noticed anything strange about himself. Hey, another strong man from the early stage of the starry sky came to this management star. I didn't expect that there are so many strong men from the starry sky in this small area. The strong man from the biochemical empire who was at a certain point on the management star, he felt a little surprised that Jia Yan, a strong man in the early starry sky, had fallen behind the management star, and he sighed in surprise. Of course, his exclamation was only because it was rare to see powerful people above the starry sky level in the Orion arm. When placed in the outside world, there were too many starry sky. He could not even look at the average starry sky level. After all, the starry sky level, the difference in strength between them is also extremely huge. Jia Yan, on the other hand, secretly observed the reaction of the strong man. When he saw that the other party did not seem to have any different reaction, and there was no fluctuation of the arrival of the strong man from the galaxy, he let out a sigh of relief. Galaxy-level warriors are too powerful. For Jia Yan, even though he is more confident in his own strength, he is far from feeling that he can compete with galaxy-level warriors. The creature of the biochemical emperor may be related to a galaxy-level powerhouse, so Jia Yan does not want to have any chance of meeting with this powerhouse. When Jia Yan landed on the planet, a meeting was actually taking place on the entire planet targeting a certain powerful person. I said, the so-called messenger of the Earth's Ming dynasty is just a liar. It is basically a cover for the Rulan Empire to blackmail our Asta Empire. You must know that the green-skinned old strongman of the Rulan Empire, our Asta the Empire, can only use the power of the whole country to defend itself. If it weren't for him, our Asta Empire might have destroyed the Rulan Empire long ago. But now, the Rulan Empire actually said that the envoy was even this can't even deal with old monsters. I can't believe it. I believe that you think that old monster is invincible. I think you have a fever and your brain is burned out. You have to know that in the entire galaxy, there are strong people like Crucian Carp crossing the river. Do you think he is powerful? The forces behind the Zerg are random. If you send a strong person, you might be able to destroy him. One by one the strong men quarreled extremely loudly. Among this group of strong men, there was a monster who looked like a human but had fish scales on both sides of his cheeks. He coughed impatiently. I say everyone, please stop arguing. I think it is better for your Asta Empire to send a strong man to test the background of this strong man. I think whether he is a dragon or an insect, he will show his weakness. The words spoken by this strong man made all the strong men nodded in acceptance. The Earth Messenger will definitely pass through our star field. If we want to test it, we see that he will not be able to pass. Moreover, I have also deployed things on the management star to deal with strong men like him. After a strong man said these words, a group of strong men around him suddenly looked at him in shock. Haha, I can't say it yet. Maybe the information will be leaked. When the strong man saw all his colleagues looking at him in shock, he shook his head proudly and kept it secret from these colleagues. Look. Although Jia Yan was powerful, because he came to manage the Star Queen and took care of the powerful people in the biochemical empire, he was unable to expand his brainwave power to a large extent, so he did not hear the words of this group of powerful people. While they were walking around the management star, he also captured some special images. Nothing in this management star can be compared with the Northern Star Territory, but there is one thing that surpasses the feeling of the Northern Star Territory, and that is that in this management star, there seem to be a lot of soldiers, which is not consistent with ordinary people. Jia Yan transformed into an ordinary Asta man. Although he had black hair and black eyes, he only belonged to a minority of people in this management planet and did not have any special appearance. So at this time, after he felt that this management star was special, he also found some passers-by and asked, insinuating the reasons for this special military and civilian rule. So that's it? Management is the main task of this management star. The people are secondary. The people here are strictly selected before they can stay in the management star. Those soldiers will return to the management star in a few years. The original troops. When Jia Yan heard about the unique level restrictions of this management star, he felt a little fresh. Some alien things are not necessarily good for Jia Yan, but these things and imperfections must have deep-seated reasons for their formation. Jia Yan slowly understood the reason. But the reason hasn't been found yet, but he was told what the management star's method was to deal with him. Perhaps none of the powerful people who manage the planet have ever thought that Jia Yan, the Earth Messenger, would quietly come to their management planet. After all, Jia Yan's behavior in the Rulan Empire can be described as extremely domineering. As a result of their poor confidentiality work, Jia Yan sneaked into the management star and roughly figured out the attack mode they wanted to carry out. Good guy, the top management of this management planet are simply crazy. They actually want to create an artificial black hole to attack me. When Jia Yan combined the clues and finally analyzed the thoughts of the top management star, he was a little stunned. This news came from what Jia Yan heard from several soldiers in a secret room in a hotel. Although they were negotiating things in the secret room, They never found out that Jia Yan could actually hear what they were saying. But even though Jia Yan was far more powerful than them, he was still shocked by their words. This management star actually wants to be used as a black hole weapon? You must know that the technology for making black holes is also available in the Northern Star region, but they have never used it in war. Because this technology is not perfect even in the Northern Star region, and in the Orion Arm, Jia Yan basically does not believe that the Asta Empire has this technology. Could it be that the strong men from the biochemical empire were secretly helping them? Jia Yan suddenly thought of this. In his opinion, this is very possible. If the biochemical empire is really as powerful as Jia Yan thinks in his heart, then it is still possible that they can obtain black hole weapon technology through the forces behind it. But why did they do this? Are they looking at me again? Jia Yan remembered that great being, and when he finally spoke to himself, he also said that his true form was not worthy of his attention anymore. In this case, would it be possible to send powerful men from the biochemical empire to target his clone? Forget it, if you don't take one step, the worst I can do is skip this management star. Jia Yan was a little frustrated, so he went to Shiyuan and simply hid in the management star. He wanted to get more information. Because Jia Yan is not sure that there are strong men from the biochemical empire on this management planet, and black hole technology is being produced for him, so will similar technology be spread in other parts of the Asta Empire? In other words, will there be powerful people from the biochemical empire in other places? If so, then Jia Yan will have a headache. He really doesn't want to deal with the biochemical empire. But things went counterproductive. What Jia Yan didn't know was that it was the capital of the Asta Empire. A huge and unparalleled creature came to the most prosperous and most powerful place in the entire Asta Empire. He is a huge monster that looks like a white swan. What makes him different from other creatures is that his body seems to be made up of two monsters. But even so, he still revealed a sense of authority that exceeded that of a high-level powerhouse in the starry sky. He was actually a peak person in the starry sky. This strong man used his wings to fan up gusts of wind in the most prosperous place in the capital of the Asta Empire. The strong wind turned into a terrifying force, blowing away ordinary residents and even buildings below. Countless Asta people lost their lives in this strong wind. Haha, I am the envoy of the biochemical empire. I am here today to ask you, the Asta Empire, to accept your fate and become my lackey of the biochemical empire. Just admit defeat. The white swan monster laughed happily. Sorry, there is only this update today. I went out to do some business at dawn in the morning and came back late. I was too tired to write anything. I will try my best to make up for everyone tomorrow by updating 3 times. Baiyu will definitely not stop updating. I hope everyone will subscribe and support. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 810. When this strong white swan man came to the capital star area of the Asta Empire, there would naturally be strong men to deal with him. But at this moment, the strong man on the ground was actually lying on the ground, but no one could stop this strong man. The Asta Empire had been established for thousands of years, and it was rare to encounter such an aggrieved situation. Asshole, what is your purpose? An Asta man who seemed to be the most powerful among the Asta strongmen shouted angrily with a long sword weapon in his hand. As the most powerful man in the Asta Empire, he had the greatest blocking effect on the White Swan powerhouse. For what? The reason is very simple. I, the biochemical emperor, want this star field, the White Swan monster said coldly, especially when he mentioned the name of biochemical emperor. He felt a strong sense of admiration and admiration. Feelings revealed. Biochemical Emperor. All the Asta people were extremely surprised because they had never heard of this name. The changes in the Asta Empire did not affect the surrounding management stars so quickly, and no one knew that such a huge change had occurred in the capital of the Asta Empire. It's just that the entire star field has been in turmoil for a long time. First, there have been more and more frequent attacks by the biochemical empire recently, and then there is the sudden appearance of the so-called Earth Messenger from the Rulan Empire. It seems that everything is secretly brewing something. Of course, Jia Yan is not an accomplice of the biochemical empire. It is just that at the time of his appearance, he was united with everything in the entire star field. Of course, it is also in line with the saying of the Chinese people on Earth. Then it means if the world is in chaos, there must be monsters. And Jia Yan, the big mosquito clone, was also counted among the monsters. This powerful man from the biochemical empire came here specifically to wait for me. In the management star, Jia Yan walks on the planet. He is surrounded by well-known Asta people. For Jia Yan, these people are not much different from the people on Earth, so living here is not that uncomfortable. But he is not so relaxed about some of the undercurrents on this planet. It turns out that on this planet, Jia Yan saw many unusual conditions, especially the appearance of a strong man from the biochemical empire on this planet, and some officials often met with this strong man to discuss certain things. This made Jia Yan feel a little less calm. If they deal with me, they don't need so many arrangements. Especially if they don't know whether I will come here, it is impossible to make so many arrangements here. Then there can only be one reason. There was a faint sparkle in Jia Yan's eyes. What the Asta Empire will become has no impact on Jia Yan at all, but to him, the Asta Empire is very close to the solar system. If anything changes here, it will have a great impact on the solar system. Big. Is the biochemical empire going to attack the Asta Empire? Thinking of this, Jia Yan had a thoughtful look in his eyes. Biochemical empire, when he first came into contact with this empire, he seemed to have heard that this empire was an empire composed of a group of biochemical humans and biochemical beasts, but for some unknown reason, they united with the Zerg race, which even now no civilization knows where they came from, and then conquered a large area of the star field. After establishing a foothold, there was no action for many years. But Jia Yan believes that the outside world's speculation about the biochemical empire is somewhat wrong. An empire cannot be born casually, especially in less than 300 years. This empire has defeated the great empires such as the Asta Empire and the Rulan Empire. This is simply impossible. Then there is only one way to say it, and that is that the biochemical empire has the support of external forces. And this can also explain the reason why Jia Yan was noticed by the great galaxy-level powerhouse of the Zerg tribe in the first place, because the powerhouse behind the opponent might be a galaxy-level being. If the biochemical empire takes action against the Asta Empire, it is likely to affect the Earth, because even the escape forces of the Asta Empire may destroy the Earth. Because the current technology of the people on Earth cannot even deal with such escape forces. Jia Yan thought a lot. Now he was not only watching how the manager dealt with him, but also wanted to see what kind of conspiracy was behind all this. Jia Yan is very patient, because the real body is still on a long-term voyage, and there is nothing wrong with him. For him, the things on the clone side are the most important. Finally, after waiting for more than 10 days, there was movement on the Asta Empire management planet. Huh? That strong man from the biochemical empire is actually preparing to take action. In the small house where he temporarily lived, Jia Yan felt something strange happen to the powerful man from the biochemical empire hundreds of kilometers away. He looked gloomy, then opened the door and left quietly. Sure enough, in another urban area of the planet, a huge monster was moving quickly. The so-called Earth Messenger should not pass by my direction. I want to capture this messenger just to claim credit from above. After all, a creature that has reached the level of a truly powerful person appears in this desolate star field above. I must be interested in research, but I don't want this strong man to have passed by here, so I have to act according to my original idea. This monster was a little depressed. After waiting for many days, Jia Yan did not appear. As for Jia Yan, the so-called Earth Messenger, after comparing the rumors and some obtained information, this being found that Jia Yan might be as powerful as him. This made him a little shocked, because how could they didn't believe that an existence as powerful as him would appear in this desolate star field. But the appearance of Jia Yan overturned his belief, and as soon as he thought about it, he thought of capturing the Earth Messenger and handing it over to the above to claim credit. But Jia Yan didn't show up, so he had to carry out his real mission. But what he didn't know was that Jia Yan had already appeared. What may shock him even more is that Jia Yan, the so-called Earth Messenger, is more powerful than he imagined. Jia Yan moved gently in the twisted space. Not long after, he arrived not far from this powerful man from the biochemical empire. The distance of several hundred kilometers, to him now, was as close as one step or two to the people on Earth. Therefore, it is only a matter of time to catch up with this powerful man of the biochemical empire. Jia Yan didn't want to alarm the other party. To be honest, he still had some scruples about the great hierarchical existence behind the biochemical empire. This powerful man from the biochemical empire came to a house that reached 600 or 700 floors. Because the people of the Asta Empire are basically the same as the people on Earth, and they are not much taller, so these 600 or 700-story houses are only 3 or 4 kilometers away. They can be seen everywhere on this administrative planet, which is very common. When this biochemical monster came here, it flew to half the height of the floor. As soon as it passed through what looked like a wall and entered directly into it. Jia Yan was startled for a moment, then he frowned and stepped lightly on the space, entering it without disturbing the defense force. When it comes to the degree of utilization of space, Jia Yan is now more and more familiar with it, and he is able to do something similar to finesse. This has nothing to do with the power of brain waves. It is just that his understanding of space is stronger and he can make such actions. After Jia Yan's body flashed, he appeared behind the strong man, and his body faintly sank into half space. His breath and body shadow almost disappeared, and even the strong man in front could hardly detect it. To his presence. When the strong man from the biochemical empire came into this space, he saw a huge empty area in front of him. Half of the entire building seemed to have turned into one space. In this space, there are countless machines working and many workers of all kinds moving around. What is even more shocking is that in the center of this space, a giant metal sphere is slowly rotating in it. The appearance of this strong man made an Asta man in the space notice him. "Lord Doggo, you are here." The man trotted up quickly and saluted respectfully to this powerful man from the biochemical empire. "Well, how is the artificial black hole going?" The strong man from the biochemical empire just nodded lightly to the man, and then asked directly. And this sound also shocked Jia Yan, who was hiding behind him. Is this the so-called man-made black hole in the rumors? No wonder I felt a terrible force as soon as I came in. Jia Yan looked at the giant metal ball with a strange look in his eyes. In the giant metal ball, a faint sense of power spread throughout the building. Although this power had been suppressed to the lowest level, Jia Yan could still feel that a terrifying force was operating in the giant metal ball. "Sir, we have created this artificial black hole according to the technology you gave us. Although the power is somewhat different from the data you gave us, it is fully usable." The man looked at the giant metal ball with a hint of shock in his eyes. Replied regretfully. "I didn't ask you to make the original version. Let me take a look. The data is not bad. Haha, as long as you take out these things, which empire in this entire star field will not surrender?" Listening to the words of this biochemical empire monster, Jia Yan from behind was shocked again. It turns out that this black hole is not only used to deal with him, but also to target the entire civilization empire in the star field. There was something strange in Jia Yan's eyes. There was a lot of information revealed in the other party's words, and he needed to think about it carefully. Because according to what he thought, If the biochemical empire and the Zerg behind it really had great and powerful people behind them, then it should be extremely simple for them to want this weak star realm, even if the great and powerful people themselves could not. If you go out and send some venerables or starry sky levels at will, you can easily sweep across the star field. Could it be said that the great beings don't care about the matters in this star field at all, or even just decided by some of their weak subordinates? Jia Yan was a little surprised to think of this. Today I will make up for the chapter I owed yesterday, so I will update it 3 times. This is the first update, Reborn as an Interstellar Giant Mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 811. In fact, it is not difficult to guess, because the strength and resources of the Orion arm really cannot enter the eyes of a galaxy-level being. Even Jia Yan looks down on him now, let alone the galaxy-level beings who are countless more powerful than him. In that case, their actions might not be able to communicate directly with galaxy-level beings. The sparkle in Jia Yan's eyes became more and more brilliant. If it were just the strong man himself, then he would not be afraid at all. It's just this black hole. Jia Yan looked at the giant metal ball in the vast space. Naturally, he was extremely afraid of the legendary black hole. You must know that when he was flying in the universe, he had never encountered a real black hole, and at that time, Jia Yan was always careful to let him go. For him, a real black hole is almost a place where he will die. In that kind of place, time and space lose meaning, and he does not want to be sucked in and die. This artificial black hole must not be as scary as a real black hole, that's for sure, otherwise the entire management planet would have been doomed long ago. But even so, Jia Yan still has awe in this legendary thing. Okay, let's get started, the biochemical empire monster said to the Asta man. Sir, do you want to start now? The man obviously didn't expect this being from the biochemical empire to be so straightforward. If I want you to do it, do it. I must have been slower than others here. If you don't do it now, do you want me to be punished? The huge biochemical empire creature looked at the man with some venom. Do it quickly. The energy of the metal ball has been released to 33.25%. Hurry up, the man almost didn't dare to look at the strong man from the biochemical empire and gave the order quickly. Jia Yan was on the side and was a little shocked to see that the huge metal ball slowly cracked a small crack. Then a terrible suction force burst out immediately. But of course this power is restricted. If it is only released a little bit, it will not have much impact on surrounding affairs. After that, countless alarms sounded almost instantly on the entire management star. These are all alarms from the gravity detection systems of various agencies. Okay, I'm going to call the higher UPS on this planet. I hope they will be sensible and surrender within 10 minutes, the strong man from the biochemical empire said somewhat boringly. Then he took out his communicator and dialed a certain number. Jia Yan looked at this strong man, called the private communication number of the top manager on the management planet, and then threatened him. Listen, my strength is enough to destroy your planet directly, but now I don't need to use my strength. Just this big thing can easily destroy this planet. If you don't obey me, then the entire planet will have to pay for your burial, along with your lovely daughter. Are you willing? This biochemical empire monster slobbered. The top management, after being silent for a while, reluctantly agreed to the surrender request. Very good, you are very good. The strong man from the biochemical empire felt that there was no challenge, and then lazily turned off the communication. Jia Yan listened to the conversation between them. Oh, this strong man from the biochemical empire can grasp the key point by threatening people. But it is this kind of person who is the most dangerous. If he really attacks the direction of the Earth, then everyone on the Earth will be in danger. Jia Yan understands the existence of such characters and how terrifying they are. Jia Yan suddenly felt that the gravitational force inside the building suddenly expanded. What's wrong? Under Jia Yan's watch, One staff member was sucked into the huge metal ball, and miserable screams were heard, making people's scalp numb. The man next to the strong man from the biochemical empire was also shocked by the scene, and he shouted in extreme panic. "What's going on here? Sir, our data are obviously normal, why did the gravity of this artificial black hole suddenly increase significantly?" The man didn't know what happened, he just felt like everything was wrong with him. But before he could react, a huge claw stretched out and grabbed the man. It turned out that the person who caught him was the strong man from the biochemical empire. "Haha, that's right. You did nothing wrong and you did a good job. But what you don't know is that turning on the 33.25% pressure value is not something you can bear. Now you have no use value. Go to hell." The strong man roared suddenly, and then threw the man in the direction of the giant metal ball. The man's eyes were horrified. He seemed to be shouting something, but nothing could be heard. He was pulled into a line by a force and shot directly into the cracked gap of the metal ball. "Haha, now I can use this artificial black hole myself." They don't know how to use this black hole at all. The brains of the creatures in the primitive star field are so difficult to use. The strong man from the biochemical empire smiled and saw that there was no longer anything around him. "Alive," he nodded calmly. Just when this strong man wanted to go over and press the button on the surface of some metal balls. Puff! A soft sound resounded faintly. Well. The strong man from the biochemical empire was in disbelief. At the same time, he spurted a mouthful of blood. He looked down with some difficulty and saw a big hole in the chest and abdomen of his biochemical monster, directly exposing the shattered internal organs. He simply couldn't believe that he would encounter a strong man who he couldn't even react to in such a situation. Moreover, the opponent was obviously stronger than him, but he still waited. It was shameless to take action when his guard was so lax. He turned his head, wanting to see who his murderer was. But he didn't have time to watch, he only saw a sharp flash of light. It seemed to be the arm of an Asta man, and it slashed across fiercely. At an extremely fast speed, it was like a knife, directly cutting off his head. Well. This strong man from the biochemical empire never expected that this strong man who took action secretly would not even show him his true face at the end, so he could only be unwilling to do so, and his head was directly sucked into the crack by the huge metal ball in front of him. Among the person who made the sneak attack was naturally Jia Yan. The so-called take advantage of you and kill you, Jia Yan would naturally not hold back against the powerful man from the biochemical empire who had insidious methods. And he didn't know whether this strong man could communicate with great level beings, so he refused to give the other party a chance to see his true face. Of course, this is just a kind of self-deception. Jia Yan has no idea what methods the galaxy-level existence has, but he still chooses to take action. Because he is somewhat interested in this black hole. What's more, according to the other party's words, it seems that there are many such strong men in the Asta Empire, and each of them is raising a similar artificial black hole. Then Jia Yan will have to analyze this artificial black hole carefully before meeting him. The possibility of pairing and dealing with the power of this black hole is so strong, the closer it gets, the stronger it gets. Jia Yan came to the front of the metal ball. He couldn't help but lean forward in his steps, as if he couldn't resist the attraction. Of course, he was not unable to resist. At this time, he just used his strength to stabilize his body. There was no life around, and it seemed that no other Asta people had sensed the unusual movements here, so he was able to study the artificial black hole. His power is very great. Now there are only a few cracks, and it can indeed threaten the existence of an early starry sky. So if it is directly exposed, maybe even I will be in danger. Jia Yan looked at the black color inside the giant metal ball. Even the light could not escape and was sucked directly into it. He walked to a corner, where a staff member's small brain was left. The card was not sucked away. Jia Yan opened his own brain and quickly browsed the information inside. Amazing. The reading ability of a powerful person at the venerable level is extremely fast. Jia Yan browsed at a deliberately accelerated speed and quickly had a rough overview, and then he sighed. It turns out that this artificial black hole is really powerful. It can threaten an existence at the level of 1.5 stars. If it is directly exposed on this management star, it can destroy the entire planet. Fortunately, Jia Yan figured it out. As long as he felt the suction force and quickly twisted the space to escape, there wouldn't be much danger. Therefore, the danger to Jia Yan from this so-called artificial black hole is actually not as great as imagined. However, for the entire empire and civilization of the Orion Arm, the existence of this kind of weapon is a bit terrifying, as one weapon can easily destroy an entire empire's fleet. The way they use it is too crude. They actually use battleships to tow it. Jia Yan felt a little inconvenient when he saw the way the artificial black hole was used. But Jia Yan was somewhat surprised to realize something. Just do it if you think of it. Jia Yan came to the side of the giant metal ball, and then pressed a button according to the operation method in Nagineo's memory. Click click click. Only a closing sound was heard, and then the cracks on the giant metal ball actually closed. In the entire space, the gravitational force that had been raging disappeared directly, as if it had never happened. Jia Yan looked at the results of his operation with satisfaction, and then looked at the surrounding scenery. The giant metal ball seemed to have no explosive power, standing quietly on the spot. Its size reached more than 500 meters in diameter. In comparison, Jia Yan's clone flying at its center looked like a tiny dot. Of course, this little one is equally powerful. Jia Yan looked at the huge metal ball. At the next moment, he put his palm on the huge metal ball and roared. Give me, go. Thanks to the book friend, there is a black cat for the 2,500 starting coin reward, thank you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 812. This time, Jia Yan can be said to have used the maximum power that this clone can use. His brainwave power was all over the place, and there was even a faint pain in his mind due to the excessive use of brainwave power. Although the power of Jia Yan's clone has not increased, and has even been regressing rapidly, due to the strong brainwave power of his real body and his increasingly sophisticated understanding of power, his body has become smaller. The clone can also use more incredible moves. But now he is using one. In fact, it's easy to say. The way he used his power this time was: bring items with you through the twisted space. Under normal circumstances, when Jia Yan travels through space, he always brings other things besides himself, such as clothes and equipment. But what he wants to take away this time is a huge and terrifying metal ball. And this giant metal ball even has an extremely terrifying artificial black hole inside. Jia Yan didn't know whether the power of the black hole would cause any changes in space, such as space oscillation. At this moment, he was just trying it vigilantly. Buzz. Jia Yan passed through the twisted space, and then he felt that the twisted space was suddenly squeezed by the huge object he dragged in. He only felt that the clone's power had lost a lot in an instant, but fortunately it was still within an acceptable range. After Jia Yan's body sank, he gritted his teeth and exerted more force. If there are strong people here who can see what is happening in the distorted space, they will definitely be shocked to find that there is a human being here who is the same size as an ordinary earthling, about 1.75 meters, and is actually holding a 500-meter-long human in the palm of his hand. Objects with huge diameters quickly travel through space, causing space to collapse almost everywhere they pass. The creatures on this management planet heard a loud rumbling sound that almost echoed throughout the entire planet. They didn't know what happened, and they were all extremely frightened. The senior officials thought of the scene where a strong man ordered them to surrender before, and they all thought it was a good thing done by that strong man. But what they didn't know was that the strong man had long been killed under the attack of the Earth Messenger. And the existence that caused this sensation was also the work of the Earth Messenger, who they thought would not come to this management planet. Of course, Jia Yan is now leaving the human management star quickly, and they will not know that this existence has been here before. This rumbling sound echoed all the way into space, and the entire vacuum environment was unable to resist the sound. This shows how much space was destroyed by Jia Yan. Jia Yan's clone was sweating. You must know that when his clone came to the Orion arm, he had not exerted such force yet. Dragging all the way, the space behind collapsed. Jia Yan even felt that if he went slower, the collapsed space would swallow him up. Finally, Jia Yan felt a little tired. He stretched out his arm, and then a huge gap suddenly burst out in the space in front of him. He got out of space. This place is already 2,000 kilometers away from the management star. This time Jia Yan used all his strength to travel through space, not only pulling out the giant metal ball, but also setting a new distance for his clone to travel through space. And just a moment after Jia Yan appeared in the space. Boom boom boom. A huge object behind also rumbled and appeared in space. It's the giant metal ball that made the black hole. Jia Yan looked at the giant metal ball with satisfaction and then came near it. Push a button. In space, suddenly there is an extremely terrifying attraction. The metal shell on the surface of the giant metal ball peeled off directly, and then a huge black ball appeared in space. There is a metal base at its lower part. It seems that there is a balanced relationship between the base and the black giant ball, so there is no chance that the base will be affected by the power of the black giant ball. But Jia Yan, who is not far away, is not so simple. He instantly felt that his body was being pulled by a force that was too terrifying to describe, and he wanted to be sucked into the dark sphere. This sphere is completely black. Even light will be absorbed by whatever passes around it. However, compared to a real black hole, its suction force is naturally much smaller, and it is not true that even light cannot escape, but passes through the interior. The power is transformed into another kind of power and is released. Although it cannot be compared with a real black hole, for almost all life, there is no difference from a real black hole. So powerful, Jia Yan quickly retreated, his face extremely shocked. Fortunately, he still had the ability to shuttle. After he discovered that he could not completely escape the gravity, he directly activated the shuttle power. In an instant, he appeared 3 kilometers away from the dark giant ball. Only when he got here did Jia Yan feel able to resist this attraction. If you are a semi-star level expert, you might be sucked by this power. Unlike me, who has the ability to escape from space, it would be a little difficult to escape. Jia Yan looked at the dark giant ball in surprise. This power is too powerful, and he just used the space shuttle ability to drag him away, and it seems to be easy to move. Jia Yan quickly analyzed in his heart whether he could use the power of this artificial black hole. It doesn't matter if I pull him away. The problem is, how should I use this power? Black hole. Black hole. Jia Yan thought for a long time. He felt as if he had opened a new door, the door of a truly strong man. Yes. The power of black holes. Jia Yan looked at the giant black ball in space with a strange look in his eyes. All along, he has been conceiving his own ideas and his own power. Keeping on the old path of that old man will save you a lot of detours, but after all, the most powerful opponent is just a star-level peak. He, Jia Yan, follows the old path of this strong man and has nothing of his own. If so, perhaps the final achievement cannot be greater than that of the other party. Even though the senior seemed to be almost invincible at the stellar level at his peak, Jia Yan didn't want to focus on this strength. That's right. He's thinking about a black hole. Black holes are one of the top forces in the universe. In addition to their great power, they are also an extremely stable force. Unlike some exploding interstellar matter, if you want to get close, you may not be able to do anything. You don't even know when you will die, and the black hole only has deathly silence, but its power is too powerful. The more Jia Yan thought about it, the clearer his thoughts became. And the artificial black hole in front of me is a kind of practice for me. If I use it well, maybe one day I will really be able to control the celestial black hole, and that power. Thinking of this, Jia Yan became a little excited. Unfortunately, my brainwave power talent and control power are all in space. And if you use space power well, maybe you can control this man-made black hole like just now. Jia Yan's face was full of excitement, as if he had seen a big road he was going to take, and this road seemed to really suit him. The power of black holes is one of the top powers in the entire universe. If Jia Yan can really use it at will, wouldn't he be truly invincible in the entire universe? Of course, this is just imagination. Jia Yan never thought that everything would be so simple. Just do it, let me think. Jia Yan's clone slowly approached the blooming artificial black hole. In fact, the controller was in his hand. As long as he was willing, he could make the metal close again at any time, but Jia Yan was unwilling to do so. Now that the biochemical empire has a way to control man-made black holes, if Jia Yan still doesn't believe it, what can he do? The closer he got, the stronger the black hole's suction force became, and Jia Yan felt more and more irresistible. Don't worry. Black hole, he was thinking like crazy in his heart. Feeling the increasingly powerful suction on his body, Jia Yan kept thinking wildly and finally thought of something deeper. Black hole is the terminator of space and time. All matter cannot escape its capture. Find the book, but in the end, it is still a physical matter, right? Just like this metal ball can control artificial black holes. I have read the data, and it is by blocking the flow of matter in it. And my blocking is. The more he thought about it, the brighter the light in Jia Yan's eyes became. Just when he was sucked to an extremely dangerous level by the suction force of the artificial black hole, Jia Yan's body suddenly burst out with control power. This power is like sealing the entire space around the black hole, covering the entire artificial black hole. Work harder. Also change the state of the space. The space blockade method I learned before must be wrong. Jia Yan's eyes flashed with strange light, and then he used the power of his clone to become even more powerful. His space power has always been shrouded in the artificial black hole, constantly changing the space. And his body was slowly pulled closer, even to within 10 meters. At such a long distance, it's too late to even turn on the remote control. And just when Jia Yan's body was almost pulled out of shape by the strong suction force. Buzz. Within the space, a slight scream suddenly exploded. And just after the sound started for a moment, it stopped instantly. At the same moment, Jia Yan's chest was attracted by the suction force and hit the black sphere. But he only felt his body hit a thin force. Jia Yan was startled. Originally, he thought that this clone was hopeless. But after he felt his body, he felt that the force he hit was extremely familiar. Isn't it his own power to control? Is this? He looked in front of him in shock. After a while, the shock turned into surprise. Haha, I succeeded. This is what I was going to do, okay. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 813. 57 Novel Network allows you to read all novels online without pop-up ads. The website address is, register to get a free bookshelf. Jia Yan is enlightened. Wanting to control the suction of this black hole is not that simple, but he managed to do it in a short period of time. This is not a fluke, but Jia Yan used his previous understanding of space power, and then combined it with the current situation to simply control this artificial black hole. Of course, it's not really about control, but Jia Yan finally thought of a way to fight against the power of the black hole. That's borrowing Qiao. The specifics are very complicated. In short, Jia Yan borrowed the characteristics of space, including the characteristics of closure, large power loss, and dispersion of power, so that he could falsely control the power emanating from the black hole. Yes, it is said that it is controlled, but in fact the power of the black hole is still there, and part of it was just transferred by Jia Yan through the twisted space to within 1 or 200 kilometers of the surrounding area. Now he could approach the man-made black hole without any impact. Very good. Let me try to see if I can move quickly with it. Jia Yan put his palm on the dark ball, and then moved his legs and feet. An instant later, his figure appeared 1,000 kilometers away. And the huge black ball also came out. The power is actually used more smoothly than before. Even the power I wasted was much less laborious than dragging him before. Jia Yan's eyes lit up even more. Then Jia Yan moved forward, and the artificial black hole behind him was continuously dragged through space by him. Not long after, their distance reached 5 billion kilometers and they almost reached the next management star and Earth realm. This is the movement of Jia Yan's body, and it is a waste of power. Jia Yan thought for a while, then pressed a remote control button in his pocket. After a while, the 10-meter space capsule arrived quickly. Jia Yan tried his best to block the power around the black hole. He did not want his space capsule to be absorbed by the artificial black hole. After using his own power to control the black hole, Jia Yan jumped into the space cabin. The next moment, the space capsule moved with some difficulty. Of course, this was only a moment. After this point in time, the powerful power system of the space capsule was turned on, and the speed became faster and faster. After that, at a certain speed, it entered the space jump. This was also the time when Jia Yan was most worried. He looked at the feeling of jumping space, and then looked at the sealed black hole following behind. Fortunately, after the black hole was sealed by his power, the surrounding space would no longer be disrupted by its gravity. As a result, it followed the space capsule smoothly all the way without any accidents. Haha, in this case, it will be my fighting weapon. Jia Yan's eyes lit up. With this black hole as his fighting force, Jia Yan is really looking forward to it, and unexpectedly this power is very powerful, and it is not a waste of his own power, but it is not so easy to carry, and Jia Yan doesn't know how to use it now. Too big bottom. In short, he felt that he would not waste his energy. Okay, then I won't care about the affairs on the management star. The strong man from the biochemical empire there is dead, and there is indeed no strong man from the galaxy level. I can rest assured. Then what should I do next? Continue to the capital star of the Asta Empire. Jia Yan pondered for a while. No, the Asta Empire must be full of dangers now. Although I am not afraid of ordinary strong men, no one can guarantee whether there will be a star level, even a star and a half, in this biochemical empire. Level, even my clone can't compete. Jia Yan thought a lot, and then the space capsule he operated turned around. Forget it, I'd better withdraw from this troubled place and observe what's going on with the Asta Empire. In the Asta Empire, there are many native Astos, and they are very similar to the people on Earth. When the Asta people discovered the Earth, they even suspected that the people on Earth and the Asta people were close relatives. But ancient discoveries have shown that there are many life forms similar to the Asta civilization in the entire Orion Arm, which are all passed down from the great civilizations of the past, and the people on Earth are probably one of them. After knowing that he had many close relatives, the Asta Empire didn't look kindly on these former relatives. After all, it was a big empire now. If ordinary civilizations wanted to be related to him, how could he be willing to do so? As for the civilized envoys of the Earth, I know that the Earth is just an asteroid. It is said that not even the mining machines of our Astal Empire could beat us some time ago. This kind of civilization dares to send envoys to ask for help from our hostile empire. Compensation. You said that the Rulan Empire is afraid of the envoy, right? That's because the Rulan Empire is cowardly. If it were left to our hostile empire, look at it, then the envoy would be pissed off in a few days and kneel down to beg for mercy. Rulan Imperial man. Fight for me? Come on, let's compete. In the dark underground bar, two powerful creatures actually got into a fight over some quarrel. These two great beings are both heaven level. Although their strength is just a joke in front of real masters, in the eyes of ordinary life forms, they are already godlike beings. They fought with great momentum. The bar owner immediately hid behind the counter. It seemed that he was very familiar with this kind of scene. Even the counter seemed to be specially made. The chairs smashed out by the two strong men touched the counter. Above, they are all torn apart. However, when the boss monster looked out, he suddenly discovered a scene that surprised him. It turned out that all the creatures in his bar ran away, or at least hid. After all, it was a battle between heaven-level experts. But among these guests, there is one unique one. That was a man who looked like a man from Osto. He was still sitting in his seat and still drinking lightly. He drank the wine in the cup and looked at the two strong men fighting in the bar. He seemed to be admiring the two fighting puppies with a relaxed smile. His appearance was so unique that the two fighting creatures had seen it. How dare he underestimate us? Come on, let's go. The two heaven-level creatures stopped fighting immediately and pounced on this Ostal-like man in an instant. Ha! Just as the two of them rushed towards me, the man laughed softly and shook his head at the same time. You two powerful sirs, I did not hold you accountable for destroying my elegance in drinking, but you dared to come and attack me instead. Me? Then don't let the monster show mercy. As the black-haired man spoke, a terrifying and huge attraction exploded in the entire bar. Behind the man, a huge black hole seemed to appear. There was a strong suction force surging in this hole. The two heaven-level experts were almost unable to scream, and were sucked directly into the black hole by this strong suction force. Well, a customer who saw the scene was simply shocked beyond measure by the scene in front of him. You must know that those are two heaven-level existences. Although such existences are not truly strong in the entire interstellar world, on a planet, they are almost the top combat power. And these two heaven-level experts were directly destroyed by that man's strange move without even the slightest backhand power? What is that black hole? Could it be a black hole? Impossible. How could anyone use a black hole? And if a black hole appears, this planet should disappear. A celebrity customer looked at the black-haired Osto-looking man with some uneasiness. Even the two heaven-level ones were killed with one strike. This kind of strength was so terrifying that killing them was just like playing for fun. However, the black-haired man seemed to not care what the people around him thought. He just sat back and continued to enjoy his wine. I just used a trace of the black hole's power, and I used it just right. These two heaven-level experts were eliminated without wasting much of my own power. The man thought calmly in his mind. Of course he is Jia Yan. At this time, Jia Yan has reached the depths of the interstellar space. After riding in the space capsule and jumping continuously, Jia Yan found that he had reached a star field that he had never been to before. After inquiring, he found out that this star field was actually the intersection of several powerful interstellar civilizations. Years of war with each other made this area a place where no one cares. As a result, it slowly evolved and he found Shiyuan. Instead, it became prosperous and became a haven for tax evasion. When Jia Yan arrived here, he heard the names of several great empires, especially a biochemical empire, which had a greater reputation nearby than the Rulan Empire and the Asta Empire. The biochemical empire was only formed less than 300 years ago, but the things he did shocked the entire starry sky. Defeating several major empires in succession, tearing a bite out of their land, and turning it into an empire as vast as several major empires. All of this has made all creatures talk about it. After drinking in the bar, Jia Yan slowly walked on the streets of the planet where he was now. This is a residential planet in the Sangui zone. But unlike the planets I have seen before, the buildings here are not high, and there are not many high-tech equipment. Everything seems very primitive, with only the occasional flying battleship or only with a spaceship can you realize that this is a planet of advanced alien civilization. This planet does have a sense of life, or I prefer this kind of place. Jia Yan was walking on the street, surrounded by dilapidated houses and countless wires erected everywhere. Mutated pets are running around. Young man, come here, my sister will teach you some adult things. Beside the telephone pole, an Asta woman with heavy makeup leaned there and waved to Jia Yan charmingly. Let's talk next time when we have a chance. Jia Yan glanced at her with a faint smile, and then walked forward. What he said will naturally not happen next time, he just gave the other party some words of dignity. Humph, you're still pretending to be strong at a young age, the woman yelled from behind, seemingly dissatisfied with Jia Yan's attitude. She was very accurate. Jia Yan was indeed young, but he was also a real strong man and was not pretending.